Welcome to another edition of The Script, a podcast on the Ohio State Buckeyes. His real name is Cardale Jones. His nickname is Beanie Wells. I'm Dave Holmes. Hit us up at The Script OSU. Subscribe right now on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, wherever you get your podcast. Big show, guys. Here in a minute, Zack Harrison is going to stop by. Former Buckeye, now with the Atlanta Falcons. We're going to talk everything NFL and OSU, but let's start with the NFL. JSN is now the Offensive Player of the Year and a Super Bowl champion as the Seahawks beat the Patriots. So, guys, what do you think about JSN with this historic campaign?
Man, he had a crazy year this year. Obviously, to cap it off the way that he did, nothing short of amazing. And then, the way that he played all season long, he was, a key component to what they were doing on the offensive side. One of the reasons that this team won a Super Bowl. Incredible year. That whole Seattle Seahawks team has so many incredible storylines from coach to quarterback to running back to JSN. I mean, just an incredible year for him. The game, though, very interesting, nonetheless.
Okay. Yeah. All right, so Chris Collinsworth was trying to sell it as beautiful defense. Now he's doing NBC's work there by trying to I thought it was a bit of a boring Super Bowl personally. What did you think, Cardale?
No, I thought it was a great defensive showcases, and not what I particularly expected from both of these teams was basically, if you look at the statistically, they was both tops up there in all the major go factors when you're talking about defensive performances. And Gonzalez, you got to give credit to Gonzalez of the Patriots, man. He followed JSN, and he was in some tough situations. And I don't think he gave up one completion the whole game, and that's a tall task for anyone when you're dealing with the Offensive Player of the Year. And there was some opportunities. I think Sam Darnold was late on a few passes to JSN, to definitely the one in the end zone on the bang 8, but things like that. But you can't take away from it. This was a defensive showcase from both sides of the ball. And usually in those type of situations, you got to go with the veteran leader, quarterback, and a team who can run the ball the best. And that was the Seahawks.
Yeah, Sam Darnold. What a story. I mean, the Jets didn't want him. The Panthers didn't want him. The Niners kind of wanted him and then didn't want him. The Vikings win 14 games with him and then decide they don't want him. They'd rather have J.J. McCarthy. That gets a GM fired. What do you guys think of Cardale? I mean, I know you love a good quarterback underdog story like this.
Oh, 100%, man. And I think when he left the Jets because of the situation he was in and just, I'm not for throwing away young quarterbacks, especially when they show some promise. And then when you don't have the right tools around them, right? Yep. So when he left the Jets, when Baker left the Browns, when, the story goes on for so many different guys in similar situations.
Yeah, Daniel Jones with the Giants.
Exactly. I always pull for these guys because usually they find a way in better situations. And we just saw this past year where a college quarterback going back to college because he felt I will argue, he felt as the situation he was going to get drafted to wasn't going to be beneficial for his long-term career and success. So for Sam Darnold to find himself into a situation like this, where I always say the best friend of a quarterback is a great running game, and they have the number one rushing attack in all of college football, and then couple that with JSN, I mean, you're pretty much on cloud 9 at that point.
Yeah, and a running back MVP, Beanie, chalk one up for your people. How about that?
Oh, you got to love it. I mean, you have to love it. I mean, finally, the running backs are getting some love at this level. But, Kenneth Walker, man, I thought he was a great running back in college at Michigan State, did some great things, stepped into the league there in Seattle, and really kind of picked up where he left off from the college ranks. So for him to be able to get MVP and to be leaned on the way that he was in this football game was amazing. And I know throughout the year they had a dual running back system, and the other guy was banged up and couldn't play in this game, so he shouldered the load. But I love this performance. And it just showed you, to me, you can still win a Super Bowl the good old-fashioned way. And that's playing great defense and then being able to run the football on the offensive side consistently. Yeah, they had JSN who did great things, but that game wasn't all on the arm of Sam Darnold by any stretch of imagination from an offensive standpoint.
And Cardale, if we look at this season, by the way, all right, so the Buckeyes were not tested. We talked about this. Then when they did get tested, the offensive line folded like a house of cards. You see some parallels, I think, between you think that's kind of what happened with the Patriots too, in a way.
You know what? I think my theory has been standing true for the last couple of years. In those top situations, if it's a playoff game or a national championship or a Super Bowl, I'm going to lean on the veteran quarterback, and then 2, I'm going to lean on the more battle-tested team, because at that point, we look at paths to get into that point, and some way, somehow, the paths aren't always as equal or as treacherous as, you may want them to be, and it's a double-edged sword, because you can say, man, I don't want to expose my guys to too many injuries and too many plays and getting banged up. I want them as fresh as possible when we need them the most, but you look at these two teams, a lot of similarities, right? When you talk about on both sides of the ball, mean, they had a quarterback that was considered to, finish second in the MVP.
He was my MVP on this show last week, and I took it back this week.
Yeah. But then if you really dig deeper into both of these teams and you see their path to getting to where they are, the Patriots, easiest schedule in all of
32nd out of 32.
In all of the NFL, the easiest schedule. And then even in the playoffs, they ran into the perfect storms. A CJ Stroud who wasn't playing the greatest at the time. A struggling offense versus a really good defense. Now, they still got a really good defense with the Patriots. And then you run into a Denver team who don't have Bo Nix, who
Jared Stidham. You get Jared Stidham in a conference title game.
Yeah, and Bo Nix was playing at an MVP level. Yeah. And then now you get a really good Seahawks team who is still a little bit banged up, but they were way more battle tested. I think they had the 7th hardest schedule of all of the NFL and played in the hardest division. Yeah,
and that's the thing. So they got the Niners and Rams in the playoffs. So they played 6 games against the 49ers and the Rams. Like a third of their season was against the 49ers and the Rams. So they were battle tested. But you know who really rose to the occasion? That rabbit. Bad Bunny. All right. So Bad Bunny, I've been looking on social. This is going to get clicks. Once we just say Bad Bunny, people are going to get angry. They're going to get excited. So what did you guys think of Bad Bunny?
Look, it was vibing. I had no clue what was being said.
I didn't know one word that rabbit said.
I was bouncing to the beat. That's all that was going on. I was bouncing to the beat.
Exactly. I do enjoy Latino music and other I enjoy culture. I mean, country. I enjoy rap. I enjoy hip hop, R&B, jazz. And I think I'm more of an instrumentals and the beat type of.
Right.
And I do the same thing like that. Like that. And then I try to put the subtitles on and it didn't work.
It could have been MFing us the whole day doing this performance, but the beat we was bopping.
I know.
I was bopping and I was enjoying the view of some of the female dancers and performers.
Yeah. No, there's a lot of shaking going on. No, I was the same way. I have no idea what he said. I thought it felt like I was at a party. It was I felt like this is the type of party I would have never been invited to. So I felt like I got to go see the party. So I thought it was cool. All right, let's talk about the other big news though, guys. Bob Kraft, Bill Belichick, both left out of the Hall of Fame. This is shocking. All right, so this is our Buckeye Basement Solution. Every week we try to diagnose a problem here in the world of sports. Our Buckeye Basement Solution is, what in the world do we do about the Hall of Fame? Because I am one who said the Patriots shouldn't have deflated footballs. The Patriots shouldn't have spied, all this stuff. But to me, it's the Barry Bonds debate, where Barry Bonds was still a Hall of Famer. Even if he didn't take one steroid his whole career, he's still an all-time player. Guys, to me, this is messed up that you're leaving out. Now, Bob Kraft, whatever. Owners in the Hall of Fame, I'm already kind of on whatever. But Belichick, this is insane.
Yes, it's ridiculous. I mean, it's a slight to the game of football in general. When we talk about history in its totality and some of the greatest members to ever be a part of this game, you have to mention Bill Belichick's name first because of what he was able to do in so many different situations. The guy's won, 6, 7 Super Bowls? Like, come on, this is a ridiculous situation that we're even talking about it. And then you really have to start diving deeper into who makes these votes. And honestly, in my opinion, I know it's anonymous. This should be public record from here on out, because there should no longer be a situation to where you can hide behind a pin in the pad to where you're not putting one of the greatest in its first ballot. And we had a situation with T.O., and the only reason why T.O. didn't get in first ballot is because people didn't like his personality. But that isn't what the NFL Hall of Fame is about. Right. It's about your production and how well you stack up against the greats in the game. And when you look at it, Robert Kraft should be in, and Bill Belichick should be in, and then T.O. should have been in the first ballot. This thing has been skewed for so many years. They have to fix it. I mean, so many issues that's going on with it. I hate the situation right now.
Yeah, I hate that there's so many issues that's going on with it, and then you're able to hide behind the anonymous voting of it. You should put these guys on the front. And then I think another thing about the Hall of Fame, you should allow voting from guys who are in the Hall of Fame. That's what you should really do, and take in that type of consideration versus these people who probably have personal vendettas against these guys and all this other stuff. So you have to change it. It starts there, and it begs to the argument of this. If you're not putting Bill Belichick in, and I think the number one thing that kept coming out because of the Deflategate and the Spygate, then is Tom Brady first ballot.
He better be, right? And the common sense says, of course, but you're saying if we're going to walk down this line of logic, Bill Belichick should have been a no-brainer too.
Exactly.
So are we going to hold him accountable? It reminds me a lot of baseball writers. I've always had such beef with the Baseball Hall of Fame because like Willie Mays got 94%. Mickey Mantle got 88%. Who are the 6% of people who didn't vote for Willie Mays in the Hall? Like,
and why?
And why? Yeah. And it's because somewhere along the line, Mickey Mantle blew a guy off in a clubhouse after a game, and that guy's like,
100%.
"I'll show you, Mickey," and that's what it is.
100%. And you don't even, in the simple fact of like, what is the criteria of these guys who have the voting power to have such a stain on someone's legacy as far as not voting them into the Hall of Fame? And now on the flip side, we did just see like the MVP voting of the Matt Stafford and Drake May, where the one deciding vote supposedly came down to Dan Orlovsky, right, which is a friend of Matt Stafford.
Played together.
Exactly. And I don't think it was, oh, this is my buddy, give him the vote. But knowing who were the voters in this situation and having an opportunity to ask them, why did you vote for him? I think that goes a long way. Or why didn't you vote for him? Because I would argue, I don't think the race should have been that close between Matt Stafford and Drake May.
Right.
Yeah, and so to me, I agree. It needs to be made public, no doubt. And I'm fine with you even losing your vote. Like, I'm fine going survivor on the island and the other voters saying, hey, if this guy voted, like, let's say someone voted Matthew Stafford 7th place or something. Say, you know what? That's so bonehead egregious. Get out.
Yeah.
Get him out. Like, have some accountability. That's our Buckeye Basement Solution for fixing the Hall of Fame. Hey, if you have a dry or wet basement or a damp or wet basement that needs a quality solution by a local company, hit our guy up, Brian Mastroianni, BuckeyeBasementSolutions.com. Give him a call, 614-956-4592. Coming up next here on The Script, Zack Harrison, member of the Atlanta Falcons, former Buckeye 5-star, is here in studio. Stay with us. Welcome back to The Script, a podcast on the Ohio State Buckeyes. If you're watching on YouTube right now, you see in-studio live guest here, Zack Harrison, former member of the Ohio State Buckeyes, current defensive player for the Atlanta Falcons. So we're going to talk all things Buckeye in just a second, Zack. But first things first, you got 3 Browns fans on set here.
Whoa. Don't.
You're not officially a Browns fan?
I'm a football fan. No.
Oh,
So he's by default because he's from there.
I was going to say, you're
don't
from
put
Cleveland
that
and you're
shit
not.
on.
All right.
Don't push that on me, Ricky Bobby.
Hey, if the Browns went deep in the playoffs, made the Super Bowl, who would have this shit on?
Yeah.
Cardale.
He'd be in the
100%.
suite. He'd be in the suite at the Super Bowl. So anyway, Zack,
you got me there.
You guys got Kevin Stefanski. All right. Beanie and I, we don't think he was the problem in Cleveland, right? I don't. I sure don't.
Yeah, no, I mean, it was a multitude of things, but I think you guys do have a great coach down there. Obviously, 2-time NFL Coach of the Year.
Yes.
So that speaks volumes right there.
Yeah. So your reaction to getting Kevin Stefanski, what's the group chat like? What do you guys know about Kevin?
I'm excited. You know, like you said, 2-time Coach of the Year, so he can coach. And on offense, he's an offensive-minded guy, right? So on offense, we have all the tools you could possibly want, like quarterback, running back, receivers, O-line. So so he's got the pieces to have an explosive offense and do well. But y'all know how football works. We have to go out there and do it. Like pen and paper doesn't really mean much. We got to go out there and do it. And I feel like our team's confident and we can make a run this year. But we got to go do it. Like I said.
Yeah, BD, you're my running back. What do you think of Bijan down there in Atlanta? We'll get Zach's thought in a second. Bijan's a bit of a freak.
Oh, no question, man. Bijan's one of the best, if not the best running back in the league right now. Yeah. And I think he may be up for a contract here, so he about to blow this thing out the water and get paid a bunch of zeros. And if I'm him, I'm going and fighting one of those situations to where I'm not getting paid as a sole running back. I'm getting paid as a running back receiver because I do so much for this football team. So don't box me into this whole this running back market. No, I'm going to set precedent like we saw Christian McCaffrey do a couple years ago. Yep. Pay me like what I'm worth because I am essentially a bunch of the offense.
Yeah, he's a game changer. I mean, look at a guy like that. He's a guy that's going to wreck your brain on keeping up for him. And I just saw the Falcons also just released Kirk Cousins, so it look like they're going to go with Penix Jr. And I think he is the future for their organization, especially when you look at the young talent around him. Drake London, Kyle Pitts, Bijan, just to name a few on the offensive side of the ball. And then on the defensive side of the ball, one right here. If they able to keep that core nucleus of young players together, especially with an offensive mind and the experience that Stefanski is going to bring to that team, I mean, the Falcons are going to be hosting a home game for the Super Bowl in 2026.
So, Zach, what happens in practice when you and Bijan are in the open field? Who wins that battle? You guys, you're left alone on Bijan Island. What happens there?
There is no scenario where I'm in the open field with Bijan. A lot would have to go really wrong for me to be in the open field with Bijan. I work tackle to tackle. That's my
coverage. They got you dropping in coverage?
Yeah. You can drop back and check now. You're not getting Bijan over there.
I don't really drop in coverage like I used to anymore. I still can, but I don't cover
like I can, but I prefer not.
Yeah, I like to go.
Now, hold on a second. I heard that you ran a 10.7 100-meter dash in high school. Is that true?
Mm-hmm.
So what happened to that? You still run a 10.7?
A 10.7? How much did you weigh in high school?
That's what I'm saying.
250.
shit.
245. Yeah,
How do you run 10-7 at that size?
you just run, bro.
He just run.
Just keep moving
Run.
on.
Yeah,
That's
just-
crazy. I ran a 10-7 and I was 225 pounds.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
No, matter of
Did
fact,
you
I
run
didn't
the
run a
200?
10-7. I ran a 10-8. So he ran faster than me.
You ran the 200?
No, that's a grown man's race. I ain't got, I
ran
don't
the
got the ability
200
for
too.
that.
The 200 time is more impressive. It's 21.5.
21.5,
That's
right?
that's the one where I
Should have had his ass on the track team with Ohio State.
You should have, instead of rushing and passing, dropped a few meters. Maybe watch him in the Olympics.
I'm too big to run that fast, bro. That's not-
So you have Kevin Stefanski now. If my timeline's right, in 2023 you had Arthur Smith, right? Your rookie year.
He was the coach that drafted me.
Okay, so now the Buckeyes have Arthur Smith as the OC. So what can you tell Buckeye fans about what kind of guy Arthur Smith is?
I'm excited. I've been telling everybody I think he's going to do a great job here at Ohio State. I think his ability to call plays and design schemes, and especially with the talent we have at Ohio State, like to call a spade. A lot of teams we play, we're just going to be better than. So he has the ability to scheme whatever plays he wants. And they're going to work because our players are better. And so he'll be able to. I think we'll have a really explosive offense, a really explosive run game. A lot of play action is what he does really well. So I think I'm really excited about Art being here. I think the guys will like him too. The kind of person he is, the kind of energy he brings around. So I think he's a big addition.
Historically, Ohio State, like you said, lining up on any given Saturday is going to be better than the teams across from them. But this year, I don't know if you saw the Ohio State schedule. They play they at Texas, and we saw how much fire Texas has called the last part of the season. And then adding Corey Coleman to the receiver room is going to be a big addition. And then Indiana, Oregon, USC, Michigan is always going to be a tough task. This is probably one of the toughest schedules. I don't recall you going through a schedule like that, Beanie, or myself, where you look at Ohio State and say, hold on now, half of the season is going to be dogfights versus, catching one or two dogfights out of the whole year. So I am excited for Arthur to get an opportunity to compete at a high level and going against a lot of guys that you're going to see playing at the next level.
Yeah. And we have 2 NFL coordinators. That's a huge deal. Like, Matt Patricia and Arthur Smith, they both have been in the league for a long time. And it's a different game. You get to the NFL, the attention to detail is totally different.
Yeah.
The scheme, the design is totally different. So bringing that to the college game, I think having, like I said, 2 on each side of the ball is going to be a huge advantage.
I think we saw that
Ohio
this past year on the defensive side with Patricia and Ohio State was the #1 defense in the country in all major statistical categories, and going to have potentially 4 guys off that defense going the first round. So Zach, you're absolutely right.
And look, you talk about NFL coaches coaching NFL guys at the college level. We all know Ohio State every single year is going to be loaded with a ton of NFL talent. So you pit those coaches, and we talked about it last week a little bit. You pit those coaches with these guys. I mean, imagine what the college football world is going to look like. I mean, it's going to be a drastic difference because now, like you just mentioned, they're scheming up different plays like they would at the NFL level with NFL talent, but playing against college football players that a lot of these teams won't have first round, second round draft picks. So,
and you guys know, like, the mental side of the game is totally different in the NFL. You sit in meetings and the coaches explain things totally different. So bringing that to the talent that we have at Ohio State, bringing that to the guys who have never seen. I remember I learned so much my rookie year just about playing football and learning the game and understanding
you didn't even know how to play until you got there.
If I knew the stuff I knew now in college, it would have been over with.
Right.
But those guys have the opportunity to learn that now. And so I think it'll just take their play to a whole new level.
When you look at that as well, when you talk about these offensive coordinators from the NFL level going back down to college, and you see the you see the decline of production on the NFL level on the offensive side. Guys not throwing it for many as yards, not as many plays been ran, and things like that for whatever factor. I think it's very attractive for these NFL guys to go back down to the offensive side, to the college level, to have that high power flying offense and then help them, build their resume back up to then go from an offensive coordinator in the college level to potentially head coach back in the NFL.
Yeah, and they're getting paid too, $2 or $3 million to be an assistant coach nowadays.
Yeah,
money's crazy in college,
which is great. And like we just talked about a little bit last week again, they're making it to where these NFL coaches, when they come back down to college, they don't have to go through that whole recruiting thing. They got a lot of assistants. Now the assistants that you're allowed on NCAA staffs are expanded so you can put other guys in recruiting roles and allow the coaches and coordinators just to be coordinators.
Yeah, and then the big thing about that as well, we talked about over the last couple of weeks, is that basically you just being plugged into a situation because it's kind of completely different on the NFL than college level, where we hire the position coaches before we hire the coordinator, and usually the coordinator is hiring his guys because they know his system, they implement it, it's easier transition and things like that. So you're right, Beanie. It's just kind of a plug and play situation where you're getting $2 million and do what you love to do, just to call plays. I mean, Chip Kelly just came back to Northwestern, so kind of similar situation.
And do coordinators have to recruit like they did before? Because it's a whole different world. But do they have to do this? They have to be in the player's house and over and over. Do they have to still do those things?
I would imagine not as much because especially when you got to incentivize an NFL guy to come back down to the college level. Because certain things you guys don't want to deal with.
Yeah,
you know,
I'm not trying to call nobody's mom and dad.
Exactly. Like, I look at a guy like Chip Kelly, man, and this is no knock on him, man. Chip, I think he would be completely fine, happy, satisfied if he was able just to call plays and right after the game just go home. See you guys at practice, call like you know what I'm saying? Because that's what he really want to do, and that's where he flourished at in calling plays and designing offenses. And I think that's the very big attractive thing for these coordinators, and the head coaches are taking these things off their plates now, allowing to have so many different assistants and analysts on the staff where they're going to do kind of that dirty work.
Yeah. So Zach, your career is funny from a financial standpoint because you come in before NIL's a thing. Like you get the campus, and if someone just buys you breakfast, like you're ineligible. By the end of it, you're allowed to drive a car that someone just basically hands you. So what was it like kind of doing half your career for volunteer, and then you kind of come in when the money's getting there, but the money wasn't quite as good, right? Take me through your NIL progression.
It was different when they first brought the NIL thing out because we didn't even as players didn't think of this when we thought of. We thought like, oh, bet now I can go to the local Donato's and get a couple $100 for doing a pizza with a picture or something like that. Like small things that we go find and go do and that kind of thing. We would go to Kroger's and get the little gift card and be able to take the Buckeye D and spend and do all kind of stuff. But we was like, we good.
We're living large.
Yeah, and then the NIL came out and it, like, oh, now we really good. And as I left, this is when it started to kind of get to more the collectives and all that kind of stuff. And it's like, whoa, like now it's just different. It's just totally different.
So you got to put a figure on it. Put a roundabout figure on it. What would you say when NIL came about? Your last year, was it, I don't know, 10,000 to 15,000? Was it 500 to 1,000? What was your NIL package like at that point?
More around the former than the latter.
Oh, wow. Seriously?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I wasn't, but there was guys who was making money. Like, I was a D lineman. I don't score touchdowns.
Right.
Yeah.
Right? Like, guys who were scoring touchdowns, I'm sure they was compensated differently. And,
you should be if you run a 10-700.
Right.
Should have had you on offense.
Now, let me tell you where he would have flourished in the NIL space. It's the recruiting space. I mean, he was the number one recruit in the country. I mean, those numbers that he had, I think that's where, in the beginning, where it got crazy, and then that actually trickled into the college ranks of the programs because you had to pay these recruits so much to continue to attract them. I mean, stories came out when Jeremiah Smith was getting recruited that families were offering him $10,000. I mean, schools were offering him $10,000 just to come on visits. You know, so I think that's where he would have
because Zach's a 5-star
NIL space. And
Zach was a 5-star.
Yeah, and then also coming in 5-star number one guy in the country. I forgot who you came in behind, but I don't think you started as a true freshman. But you got some time. But it would have been the retention space.
Well, what do you think, Cardale? Right now, if you have 5-star defensive end like Zach right now, out of Olentangy, local guy, is that a $500,000 player freshman year maybe?
For sure.
That's crazy.
Easily.
Zach, you gonna be all right?
Honestly, I thought it would have been more than that. Like,
I would
especially
more,
with my proximity to campus.
Yeah.
Okay. He would have been, because I think a lot of things would have played in his favor. And Jesus Christ, I hope no recruits are watching this. A lot of things would have played in his favor of being a local guy.
Yeah.
And then how big other schools would have been poaching him, and just the simple fact of the NIL world is a kind of what this other school said type of an environment.
Yeah.
And Ohio State would have been under a lot of scrutiny and pressure not to get him. Yeah, he would have basically gave them a blank check, in my opinion. And he wrote him a blank check and say, hey, yeah, you guys signed that.
That's so crazy. So you went to the 2019 U.S. Army All-American game in high school. You're one of the top players. I looked up some of the guys. You would have played with like Breece Hall there, Puka Nacua. Did you meet Puka that week?
I might have. I don't.
Yeah.
So
what was that experience like, being a 5-star guy and then choosing your hometown school?
It was different. Because the hometown part, like I told you before we started, I didn't really watch football growing up, so we weren't Buckeye fans, so that didn't really play a factor in. Like, it wasn't my dream to come to Ohio State since I was little. It was kind of reevaluating, okay, what truly is the best school, regardless of how close it is to my house. And it was different. It was just interesting. I was never a big fan of recruiting and that process, because I just kind of, it was a lot, and there was a lot of I felt it was fake sometimes. I felt like a lot of coaches were trying to recruit you and trying to tell you what you wanted to hear. And I'm like, no, tell me the truth. And let me decide off that. And I felt like Ohio State was one of the more truthful, like Coach Johnson, he told me the truth. I remember I asked all the D-line coaches, I asked them a question. I said, if I didn't come to this school, where would you want me to go? Every coach told me, well, I would want you to come to my school. Coach Jay was like, Stanford. I don't want you to go to Stanford because I know the D-line coach there. I know you're going to get developed. I know what they do things there. And I was like, oh, I respect that. Because now I know as a recruit, you got my best interest at heart as a player. You told me, you don't come here, go here.
Wow.
So that's one of the reasons why I committed to Ohio State, because I was like, I know Coach Johnson has my best interest at heart over the school, over his recruiting numbers, over anything that he could personally get. He was interested in my development.
Yeah, I mean that's an interesting way to look at it, and that definitely speaks it speaks numbers for Larry Johnson, and clearly his career speaks for itself, and the way his players still respect him at an extremely high level. You guys all come back in the offseason and train with him still, and I thought it was more so because you go to Stanford, he ain't got to worry about playing against your ass stuff. You're going to get developed, but you're going to be on somebody else's dime.
Coach Jay looks at the schedule the next 4 years like, yeah, Stanford, that looks good.
Forget you guys as far away from me as possible. I ain't got to see you. I ain't got to think about you. Put you on the other side of the country, and you're going to get a great education, and you're going to go play out there.
So was there another school that was kind of close as you went through this recruiting process?
It was 3. Okay. It was I was either going to compare Penn State or the team up north. Those were the 3 schools that I was looking at super heavily coming out of high school, just because I wasn't, at the time, I wasn't ready to go to Florida, LA. Well, I wasn't ready to go that far from the crib. So those are the main 3.
Yeah, is there a recruiting story without giving names that you thought was like kind of sleazy, uncomfortable, that you didn't like that someone did, like someone tried to pull something on you?
Yeah, I can, because I'm not gonna say that coach.
Don't get names.
If they're watching, they know who I'm talking about. I love them to this day, so it's no hard feelings. But I remember coming up to school one day, and I walked in the front door, and it's my mom and 2 coaches on the couch, and I didn't know about it. And that, to me, that kind of turned me. I was like, no, because you can't just come to my house without letting me know. I remember I walked in the house and I saw them there, and they said what's up to me, and I was like, okay. I'm going upstairs because obviously y'all didn't come to see me because I didn't know y'all was here. So that kind of turned me off. I was like, okay, this is. But the stuff like that happens in recruiting. At least it did. I don't know about it anymore, but like,
oh man, it's 10 times worse now.
It's
now that guy has got a big briefcase. A bigger briefcase than the briefcases back in the day. But
I can't imagine what it's like as a recruit now.
Well, Cardale told us a story about like 2 schools paying off the mom and the dad, and we're both trying to pull the parents apart. Like, we'll give you a bag, and the parents didn't know they were at odds with each other.
That's real. Like,
that's
so real. Like,
it happens more common than now, especially now you're talking about the NIL world where you got significant amounts of money involved, and I say this all the time, you got to understand, man, Zach, unlike you, and kudos to your family dynamic and being able to raise you in such a great environment. The majority of our student athletes in the top revenue sports, football and basketball and college level, are coming from inner cities, where these kids are going to be handed a bag of money and going to be the instant breadwinner to their families. And I'm talking about from $100,000 to more. I'm talking about instant breadwinners of their families. So you got to understand the dynamic, what it's doing to that household. Another hurdle is a lot of that household sometimes is a divided household where mom and dad is not together. And then on top of that, where mom and dad either don't have any type of financial literacy at all to be able to give their kid the right advice. Not just to go to the right university, figure out what's for their future, but how to manage money. So you got so many more hurdles you're dealing with now on the high school level of recruiting, where those type of stories are more common, where, unfortunately these universities are, licking their chops and trying to take advantage of a dynamic just to get a player to their schools.
Cardale just mentioned you not coming from like an inner city situation, you're coming from Olentangy Orange. How did that situation prepare you for Ohio State and prepare you to where you are right now? Because we know Olentangy is not only one of the best school districts in Central Ohio, but one of the best school districts in the state of Ohio. And they just won a state championship, too.
Yeah. Shout out to the Pioneers. I don't know if they're Pioneers anymore. Shout out to Orange. I know things did, whatever. But it's actually interesting you asked me that, because it had two different effects, right, growing up in Olentangy. One, I feel like it prepared me for life amazingly. Like, I didn't know I was intelligent until I left Olentangy. Like, because the standard at Orange was so high, like, kids was walking around with like 4.4 GPAs. And I'm like, I had 3.7. I thought I was dumb. I was like, they got a 4.5 GPA.
Teammates at Ohio State's got a 2.2.
They gonna put you on probation.
32 on his ACT. I'm like, bro, I got not a 32. So it was different. But I'm blessed to have that opportunity to have those skills entering the real world.
Mm-hmm.
But on the other side, it was interesting going to a locker room where, like you said, a lot of people didn't grow up like I did. We all looked the same, but they didn't grow up like me. And I Olentangy, just call it what it is. Like there's a lot of white people in Olentangy. It's not a lot of diversity per se. And going into the NFL or college locker room, it was kind of culture shock for a little bit. Like I was like, oh, this is a little different. And so it took a while to get used to and kind of get my feet under myself and kind of be like, okay, I can still be myself here and then things like that. So it helped me a lot in life for sure. I definitely am thankful that my parents worked hard to get me in a position to where I can go to a school like that and have that in my back pocket.
Yeah, you make a good point about just the experience of when you transition from a school like Olentangy or just high school to college period. Doesn't matter because everyone is going to deal with similar-ish, I would say, hurdles like you deal with, because I know it was a culture shock for me personally, going from a all-black school, all-black all-black neighborhood and everything. I mean, we rarely had white teachers, so being, I said this before on the show earlier in the year, where now you got this crazy white man yelling at you. I'm like, oh, I want to fight. Like, you know what I'm saying? As Coach Myers, things like that. Like, this ain't normal. Like, if he yelling at you, he hates you. You know what I'm saying? So then, just like I said, with being with different teammates from different parts of the country and all that stuff, it was a big culture shock. But Ohio State has a unique way to making all those different personalities gel. Like you just said, Zach, you coming from this environment, they coming from this environment, so many different environments. And at the end of the day, you guys all got that common denominator that you guys are Buckeyes, and you find a way to make it work. And I guarantee you, Beanie, you as well. Excuse me. You as well. Some of your best friends to this day is coming out of those locker rooms.
Oh, 100%.
Brotherhood is real.
Yeah,
brotherhood is totally real.
Yeah.
For anybody wondering, it's real. Yeah.
That thing.
Academically speaking, by the way, criminology degree. So after football, what would you want to do with a criminology degree?
I'm gonna be totally transparent. Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
I love take off criminology. I got some unpaid tickets.
I had to graduate. Had to get a degree. Some things ended up. I'm like, criminology. I can graduate on time.
Oh man,
let me get that. And
Cardale got all excited. He wanted someone on the inside that could work for him. Like,
yes, I get this football career.
You ever seen Training Day?
FBI?
Running on Training Day over there.
That's what's up, though, man. Oh wow, criminology. I think CJ Barnett was another. I think he's a criminology guy.
I believe he was.
He was a Columbus Cop. Nice work for you.
Let's talk Atlanta Falcons. This year, you did the Lord's work. A strip sack on JJ McCarthy. We'd like to thank you for your service there. You got JJ. You also had a sack in Berlin.
Yeah.
So what was the experience like going to Berlin? Because that's the first game in Berlin history, I believe, the NFL. So what was that like going to Germany?
Germany was cool. Germany was different, real different. It was cool to see the culture of everything and how like the history behind the city. And we were there for I think 3 days. So just driving around was cool. We got some time at night to go explore and go get food, and we were just walking around and trying to just exploring Germany. And as far as the game goes, stadium, it was Olympic Stadium, right? It was where Jesse Owens ran, and it was like we're walking around in history. Like you could see like the entrance. I remember running out on the field and just looking back like this is history. And it was,
like Hitler sat there.
I don't know if that crossed my mind, but that's true though. That's real though.
But as a Buckeye though, but if you're talking the 1936 Olympics when Jesse Owens right in front of Hitler wins all those golds, and now you're on campus, the track stadium's named after Jesse. You should have been a track athlete. We're now finding out running that 21.5
insane.
But yeah, so
crazy.
That had been a crazy experience. And German culture, what was like food like? Would you guys have any downtime over there?
We had a 2 nights where we could kind of do whatever. The food was interesting.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of German.
Yeah, it wasn't great.
He's looking at me thinking this guy's as German as it
gets. He's like, what's your last name?
He's looking at me like this is the most German looking guy ever.
Here, maybe.
Don't worry. I'm
they had
not
like a wrap with like noodles and coleslaw, and I was like, this is doing a lot. But this is doing a lot. But like I said, it was cool. Germany was cool. It was good to be. Anytime you could travel, it's always cool to see different cultures and things like that. So
So as you enter your year 4, right? Obviously, we know this is a huge year, but just taking a step back from that, what's the biggest learning curve that you had to go through from Ohio State college to the National Football League? Because now you're in a situation to where everybody's good. Everybody's on an elite level.
I don't know if that was an adjustment because everybody's good here, if that makes sense. Like at practice, everybody was good. So every day you kind of had to bring it. I would say the biggest adjustment is there's nobody holding your hand in the league. Like if they'll let you fail. Like if you're not a grown man about your business, they will let you fail and they don't like. Yeah. So just coming from here at least, you know what to do. You just have to go there and do it and be consistent with it. And that's probably the biggest thing when it comes to body work, film study, nutrition, all that kind of stuff. You know what to do. You just have to apply it.
Yeah, I think that was the coolest thing about when I transitioned from college to NFL. I looked forward to really not having someone hold my hand throughout the process, and the biggest thing is not having to go to class. Let's start there.
That's also a plus.
But I remember the shell shockness of after our first year. And like, okay, we see you guys in 5 months. I'm like, what the fuck I'm supposed to do? And like, you're expected to come back in shape. You're expected to come back at a certain level and a standard, and that onus is all put on you. And I remember always from like, I don't want to be the guy who fails the conditioning test.
Yeah, facts.
Coming back after 3.5, 4 months off, or that period before camp. So you start to develop and learn how to be a pro, and then you don't learn those things until you be around other pros. So my question is this: what are some of the pros that's in your D-line room or just on the defense that you're kind of picking up the tidbits from to learn how to have the longevity of some of these guys?
Probably the biggest two would probably be Calais came my rookie year, and then Grady Jarrett was there for 2 years. And I learned a lot from Grady. Talked to him a lot.
Yeah, I met Calais out at the Fiesta Bowl, Ole Miss, Miami.
That's my guy.
And for him to play, I think almost 20.
I think he's at like 18. He was like
Did you
16 my rookie year.
He played with him in the Cardinals.
We both played with Calais. That's crazy.
That's
wild. That's crazy, bro.
Like for him to be another as big as he is, come from a huge family from Colorado. From our brief conversation that we had,
9 siblings or something.
Yeah,
they all lived out there in Arizona.
Exactly, man. He was a guy that I always was a fan watching growing up from afar because a guy that big, and we talking about and how guys are freak athletes. We sit next to him right now. He was one of those guys as well. I remember him more from his Arizona days, and then when he went over to Baltimore as well, then I know he bounced around a little bit after
Jacksonville, he had a big year too.
Jacksonville, and I think Miami, and then the Falcons as well. So clearly, but yeah, that's the guy clearly you want to hang on his coattail as much as you can. And he played, 15 plus, years at the most probably, physical position of all of college football, all of sport.
Yeah, I know you said the brotherhood's real. Starting to think NFC South means you're now running into Emeka Buka twice a year, Chris Olave twice a year. I mean, is that post game talking to those guys? What's it like?
Every time we
Pete
Ransom, Pete Lathan. Every time we play them, it's. I remember Jordan Fuller with the Panthers one year. Every time I see any Buckeye across we always first person I go to is them. I got to get your jersey, sign it, do a little picture. And that's what it is. We talked about that in the locker room like for years. Like when I need your jersey, and now being able to actually do it, it's the coolest thing in the world. It's the coolest thing in the world.
Yeah, that's so cool. Beanie, but you have any thoughts on Atlanta nightlife? He's real against Houston. We found out a couple weeks ago. He went in on Houston.
No, I love Houston. My grandma lives there. I got grandma lives in Houston, aunts, uncles, cousins, a bunch of family in Houston. I just know what the situation Houston can present in terms of nightlife. It can get a little bit crazy out there in H-Town. And obviously we know about Atlanta and how welcome to Atlanta, what the players play and all of that. And we know how that can get. But, for you, how has it been? How has that transition been going to Atlanta, a major city? I think you talked about you don't live too much in the mix, so you kind of stay out of it, right?
Yeah, I've never been a really in the mix guy since I was here, but after I left Ohio State, I kind of
got it on his system.
Let me relax. But I'll say this about Atlanta: you can go to Atlanta and have as much fun as you want, as much fun as you want to have. You can have much fun as you get, but sometimes you gotta
be a pro.
Yeah, gotta be a pro.
But with that being said, how often do you see guys? Obviously, your 4th year in the league, I'm sure you've seen guys kind of get distracted by what Atlanta or a major city has to offer. In that life, I'm in the NFL. I got a little bit of money in my pocket. I'm in this major city. Let me dive head first in, and now you end up washing out of a situation to where you could have a long career.
I've always said that about UNLV basketball. It was amazing that even we were able to field a full team. That the guys showed up at the game the next day, right? Like the distractions are real when you get in these big cities.
Or like even think like Miami, like the Dolphins, something like that. But I think the proximity to the city helps us a lot. The fact that a lot of us live so far from Atlanta. You have to really think about going to Atlanta. Like you have to really want to go down there to go down.
Yeah,
there.
no, it's another situation you just brought up. Like Miami, they're pretty far away from the city as well. But like,
Are they?
Yeah. So that was always my biggest thing when I thought about the draft and the situations in the areas and stuff. Arizona is one. Arizona's actually probably another one where you guys can live at and have access to everything you want to have access to.
Because Arizona's a good time.
It's a great time. It's a great time. But that's what I thought. I was so excited to get drafted to see like Buffalo, and I enjoyed Buffalo, but it wasn't as accessible. Like when my buddies said, "Oh man, I want to come and see you in New York," I'm like, "Whoa, I'm in Buffalo." I don't think of the buildings and all the nightlife and all that other stuff. Even though there's a lot of great things in Buffalo to do, but like you guys said, it always helps as a young player going to a city where the number one focus and the number one priority would be, clearly your sport.
All right, Zach, we'll get you out on this one. Last time I saw Zack Harrison was actually, he sat with me in the press box for the national championship game a couple years ago. We were trying to sneak, we were trying to sneak him some free Chick-fil-A from the media room. And they're like giving him I was like, dude, this guy plays for the Falcons. Like, give him all the Chick-fil-A he wants. So the championship team, we obviously saw that one, but Mercedes-Benz Stadium, I want to get you out on this. Cardale claims that this place, I mean, he's like, he tells the story that he went there and he was like the king of Egypt. He was like Pharaoh when he was at it. It's amazing. So what's it like Mercedes-Benz Stadium?
It's a really nice stadium. It's a really nice stadium, I'm not gonna lie. And like everybody says the food is amazing and it's super cheap. Like it's super duper cheap. Yeah. There's a bunch of, like you said, there's a bunch of like different sections you can go watch the game in, and the roof opens and it closes and you can have it open and all. I think it's a dope place to play. I think it's a really good place.
That like, I don't know what you guys call that Jumbotron, 360 Jumbotron is sick. You see that. I think the Clippers' new stadium adopted that as well. But you're trying to see a lot of new stadiums on all professional fields are trying to adopt some of the things that they do at that stadium. So kudos to the designer, to the owners for investing the money, clearly, to have an unbelievable facility. And I remember for the first couple of years, it's so weird because, they used to be right next to each other as they build in the other one. So that's always great, though, because now you're not moving the stadium all the way across town and things like that. But yeah, Dave, I'm telling you, man, it was.
Yeah, what was his story? He like went to the suite and then he went like in the back of the suite. There was like a spa. He had like a spa treatment or something. What was it?
They're feeding me grapes and doing my
little cucumbers on his eyes.
Yeah, exactly. I have to take them off, eat them, put them on. But no, that stadium is unbelievable. But I can only imagine playing on that field though and feeling that energy. And Zach, mentioned some stories about looking up on that Jumbotron and seeing some characters in the stands. I would love that.
On
the bench is great. You the offense out there, you like.
Exactly.
Zach, I know we got to get you out here. I got to ask one more question. I'm sorry, guys.
Go in.
When obviously you come to Ohio State, you go to the National Football League, you understand that, you're prepared going to the National Football League. What recruiting pitch would you throw out there for guys on why they should go to Ohio State and what it does for you as you go on to the next level, not just in the NFL, but just personally after football?
Yeah.
Well, even though you haven't experienced after football, but I'm sure you've been around the brotherhood and understand that.
I would say this. There's maybe 5 programs in college football that are true NFL factories that you come in as a freshman, you stay there for a certain amount of time, and you're going to get an opportunity to go play in the NFL with all the tools you need. And I think Ohio State is one, if not two, in terms of guys in the league. So that's number one. If you want to go to the NFL, you have all the tools you need. You have the opportunities. 2, I think the city of Columbus is so underrated. Like the actual city of the Columbus, like for being here my entire life, the connections that I made at Ohio State, like just we're still here. Like you don't need to leave Columbus. There's so much here that you can after football, you can branch out and meet people and do these things while you're playing, to where you can have connections and use them and grow your brand and yourself and really grow in the city of Columbus as it grows. So I think really those are the number 2 reasons that why, for me, it's a no-brainer. If I was to talk to a recruit, I'd be like, you can go to, I don't want to talk no shade about no other program, but you can go to other programs and you can do all football. You can go to a program and football be okay, but the after football is great. When you want to combine both, there really aren't, I can't think of any programs that have truly the best of both sides of the spectrum.
Yeah, Zach, you make a good point, and I know we got to get you out of here, is that when you're talking about a city like Columbus, Ohio, and you're talking about Ohio State, it is a true partnership within the city and in the university because they mean so much to each other. And I have so many buddies that played at other top universities around the country where we don't share the same stories as life after football. And Zach just hit the nail on the head. Even a lot of guys that we play with, that's from all around the country. And whenever they're done, they find their way back to Columbus because of the opportunities of not just what Ohio State can provide for you, but this is, a top 2 to 3 fastest growing cities in all America. So the opportunities for growth and networking is definitely, second to none.
And not to mention, we talked about the brotherhood. Like, that's also, like I said, it's real. Like, the prime example, I hit you up and talked about podcasting and things and I'm doing the same thing, guys who I played with, like, hey, like, I got this real estate thing going on. Let's go grab lunch. Let's go talk about it. And like, it keeps passed down. It passed down. We want to see other Buckeyes succeed. I don't know if it's like that everywhere else.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So I think that's another reason why, if you go to Ohio State, not only will you be successful, you have people who want you to help you be successful and teach you everything they learned from people who taught them.
Yeah, Zach, thanks for coming in, man. Go out there year 4, ball out with the Falcons, get paid, and get that money that you got screwed out of when you should have gotten $1 million as a true freshman. The timing didn't help our guy. Zack Harrison, thanks again, man. Hey, we have more script coming up after this. Welcome back to The Script, the podcast on the Ohio State Buckeyes. We don't often talk Ohio State hoops here, guys, but big news here. Anthony Thompson, he's an Ohio kid, a recruit for the Buckeyes, named a McDonald's All-American, the first guy since D'Angelo Russell to wear the scarlet and gray, be a McDonald's All-American. It's a big deal, and yet Buckeye fans, guys, aren't feeling too good right now because they just got throttled by Michigan. So how are we feeling about the state of OSU hoops?
You know what? They got to get it going. Obviously, I love our coach. I mean, I think obviously he needs a little more time. But putting the pieces together in these big game moments, I think is going to be critical for Ohio State. I mean, they got to be able to rebound a whole lot better. And then we got to be great around the perimeter, which I think that's the area in which we're lacking.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, man. I think, we're just a few small pieces away from being a very competitive on a national level, not just in the Big Ten, but clearly, you got to be competitive in the Big Ten and make it to the big dance. And I think Thompson is going to definitely give them a leg up when you talk about the talent and the pieces around your key starting young pieces. I know Bruce Thornton will be gone after this year. I think Mobley, just eligibility, he can return next year. And then the other few, Bynum is another great young talent. There's some other guys coming off the bench as well. So I think they can, you know how Buckeye fans are. We want to see results now instead of being patient for and trusting the process. But Thompson is going to be a big spark for the Buckeyes next year.
We're on that fringe right now of making it to the tournament. If it was to happen now.
They're on the bubble. They got to get hot. They got to finish up hot here. All right, so the big news, and I can't believe it took this long to show to talk about it. Clayton Tune of the Columbus Aviators, the new United Football League team here in Columbus that starts at the end of March. He is now going back to the NFL. So suddenly the Aviators need a quarterback. We need to fill the roster out. And Mr. Cardale Jones goes on Twitter. And I know Cardale doesn't just get on Twitter to start stuff. So I'm sure this was sincere. You hinted that you might come out of retirement for the Aviators. Is this true?
This was sincerely a joke.
No.
I have no passion. I have no passion or desire. I wouldn't say to play the game of football, but to get hit. I just do not. Like, I have no doubt I can go in and go operate an offense and command a locker room. But the one time I end up on the ground is going to be, I'm done. And that can be me just tripping over my feet.
Right.
But what if we said we'll get you Jason Kelsey, Jonathan Ogden, Orlando Pace, William Rowe?
I'm out there. I'm out there. I'm willing to take on the Seahawks.
Okay.
I was hoping that there was some truth to this. I mean, Cardale is obviously, he's, honorary GM of this whole thing.
Yeah.
Hopefully he could be Michael Jordan running the front office and on the football field, operating, leading the Aviators to a championship.
Ricky Moon, or what was my guy name? Jackie Moon.
Jackie Moon,
I own the team. I'm the GM. I'm the coach, and I'm the point guard. No desire at all.
Let's talk about North Dakota State. So North Dakota State has won 10 of the last 15 FCS titles. This is a dynasty in every sense of the word. And they say enough beating up on the little guys. We're moving up now. They're going up to the Mountain West. Do you guys think North Dakota State's going to be able to hang? It is the Mountain West. It's not the Big Ten. Or do you think they're going to get exposed?
Yeah, look, I do think they'll be able to hang. I think North Dakota State is a great football program. I think they go out and get some great players, but going to the Mountain West is going to be no easy feat. This is a conference in which we cover a bunch of.
Yeah.
San Jose State, UNLV, they got some great teams. And not only North Dakota State is joining, Northern Illinois is leaving a mat going to the Mountain West, and so is UTEP. So this thing is going to be a little bit more competitive across the board. It'd be interesting to see, though, how North Dakota State looks coming from the FCS to now the big leagues, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I love about the Mountain West is that the number one seed out of that conference gets the chance to host the championship game on their field.
I love
would
that.
love to see here in the near future North Dakota State being able to host their Mountain West Conference championship game. But this is going to be a competitive league. The league continues to get more and more competitive. They was right on the fringe of getting to be the group of five representative of the college football playoffs, and they had one in Boise, a number 4 seed, 2 years back. So competitively, congrats to them. Good luck. And let's see what happens.
All right. Well, there's no easy way to transition to this to close the show, guys. I know you saw the news this week. Darren Lee, former Buckeye, charged with the murder of his girlfriend in Tennessee. Now, we're not going to debate the case itself because innocent until proven guilty. We'll let the court do its thing. Of course, it doesn't look good whenever something like this happens. So if we look at this, Cardale, this reminds me of Kirk Barton, right? Kirk Barton ran into legal issues, and he was a teammate of Beanie. I know you play with Darren Lee. He was a pivotal part of your championship team. I'm sure you probably feel more emotion in this sort of thing than maybe other people do.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it wasn't as close with Darren as some of the other guys was with him being on the defense side of the ball. But yeah, you couldn't deny his what he meant to us as a team and as a teammate. But like you said, very similar to the Kurt situations where we saw some of the writings on the wall with some of the legal issues, and I think he had an assault issue with the family member, and then also some other domestic things where, unfortunately, when you continue to go down that road, you're not as shocked if something like this happens. It's just very unfortunate. But I wouldn't say the writing was on the wall for this young lady or whoever was going to deal with him intimately, but it was definitely some concerns of being physical just from his track record, and it's a sad situation for everyone involved.
Yeah, what Cardale's referencing, a 2023 domestic violence incident, a 2024 gun-related arrest. He allegedly pointed a gun at someone, 2-time substance abuse suspension at the NFL level. And that's why I kind of compared it to Kirk Barton, Beanie. And like, you see some of your teammates sometimes and you're like, this doesn't end well.
Right.
You can almost sense it. You hope they're going to pull the plane up, but you just sense it wasn't going to end well.
Look, we just had Zack Harrison on, and one of the things that he talked about, which was important to him, is the brotherhood. And, obviously we all understand the brotherhood of, Ohio State, you're a Buckeye, and leaning on one another. So it was heartbreaking to actually see this news come about. When you talk about, a guy that was just spiraling out of control, and, you saw signs there, and I don't know Darren like that, but obviously he's a Buckeye, so you never want to see anybody in this situation, especially once you don the colors and don the same jersey that you once have. You never want to see that happen, but it's sad because, there is a lot of support out there for individuals to go and seek once you see yourself maybe starting to spiral or getting out of character for yourself, right? Yeah. And when you have an individual who has had the track record in which he's had, when you see those signs, it's like, why isn't he getting the help? Why aren't you going out there and seeking, the help that you need? And, maybe people maybe needed to lean on him a little bit more, but at some point in time, you got to be held accountable to your own actions. And, in this situation, he most certainly has to be held accountable. And my heart goes out not only, talking about to him in his particular situation, but to the family of the young lady who lost her life, because that is a distasteful way
tragic.
Tragic ending right there of a life.
Yeah, and then like you talk about the support, and one thing I can attest to, as Zach mentioned earlier about the brotherhood, and me and Beanie always mentioning things, and we always, throwing alley-oops to each other. And
I
things
call Cardale
like
the alley-oop king because, like, literally, not to cut you off, but Cardale is one of the most genuine people in terms of looking out for individuals in that brotherhood. He does it like effortlessly. So I always got to thank you and show love for that. But you finish your thought.
I appreciate that. And then, but as far as the helping aspect of it, guys like Josh Perry, guys like Tyvis Powell has always been in his corner to support him through these tough times. So he had the support on that level, and clearly it probably needed to be more accountability on his side of things, and maybe some professional support it needs as well. But like you said, it's just sad to see that someone has lost their lives. Well, 2 lives are ruined, but someone has lost their life to something that I firmly believe could have been avoided.
Yeah, it's crazy because you think he's New Albany. And if you guys know New Albany, that's a nice area of Ohio. And then goes to Ohio State, wins a national title. First round draft pick with the New York Jets. Like, he had everything working in his favor. But guys, it's a reminder that even if you have everything in your favor, choices are your choices.
Yep.
And it's like, once you get off a path, man, it is hard to get it back on the tracks.
No question about it. We see it all the time, especially when you leave the game of football. Football does a lot of different things, right? You're able to go out there and, expose your aggression and hit people and not get in trouble for it.
Yeah.
But it also gives you a structure in life, which a lot of people don't get. And a lot of times when people lose that structure, they lose that routine, they go off the rails. And this happens to be another one of those situations.
Yeah, totally agree. We just saw a situation, and we didn't get into it with Zack, but one of his teammates down in Atlanta, same thing, dealing with some things personally within a relationship where he reports has it that he crashed his car into his, now ex-girlfriend's car and tried to run from the police. So, and Dave, you made a point of everything going in the guy's favor. Just because you're a professional athlete doesn't necessarily means that everything in the world is great. I know there's other issues that guys deal with, and everybody walk of life looks a little bit differently. But I think what helps with that, especially that transition as you're talking about, as you moving away from a sport or having a career change, is having the right people around you and also taking accountability for your actions.
Yeah, that's a good point, because from the outside, everything I named is slightly superficial. He's got money, a good hometown, but there are things, and we don't need to air it out here on the show, behind the scenes that he had working against him in various ways. So Darren also had issues that other people might not have had as well. So thanks, guys. I know it's not fun to talk about this. We said when we started the show, we're going to have real candid conversations, and I think we owe it certainly to the victim there as well. Like we said, prayers to her family for sure. That'll do it for us on this week of The Script, the podcast on the Ohio State Buckeyes. We are off next week, so we'll see you back here 2 weeks from now.